always Facebook, YouTube, wait forever for Twitch. Content's going out. It's out there. Streaming to you. Getting ready to get to Twitch. Once it gets to Twitch, we're going to get rolling. Our illy coffee in a New York cup this morning. New York City, New York, New York. Cheers and happy Monday. Come on, Twitch. You can do it. Go. This is the music to get your Monday started. Come on. Twitch just takes forever. Still not streaming to Twitch. I don't know what's going on their end of the line, their side over there. It is Monday, July 20th. Welcome to your Monday morning cup of cyber. Kind of a light day, Paul. I always can count on you to be first in the morning. Welcome to the show. You are the first to chime in, first to say something. We got a lot going on today. Ransomware, lots of ransomware. We're going to talk about new ransomware. We're going to talk about the last 3 months of ransomware. We're going to talk about some more about Internet of Things. We started talking about this last week. It's a growing trend. It's right up there. It's the next thing we're going to be continuing to watch. And really an exploit called BadPower. BadPower. It is National Moon Day. I don't know if it's National Day, but it's Moon Day. Celebrated landing on the moon. We'll talk about that a little bit and more, including an unboxing of our Internet of Things build out after the intro. So let's get the intro out there. Good morning again to you. Ransomware. I've told you ransomware is going to be the thing this year and probably going forward. So first up, we have Google back in the news. Some clever hackers have been attempting to use legitimate tools to target their victims, thereby leaving fewer chances for security defenses to identify the threat, according to Cyber-Social. So essentially what these guys are doing, these attackers are doing, is they're using tools that are already developed on either on the attack platform or on the network to encrypt the file. So in this case, they're using the age encryption logarithm developed by a Google employee to encrypt the file. And of course, we're going to call this thing the AgeLocker, because that makes sense, right? Good Monday morning to you, Dennis. Happy to see you here today. So this thing uses the Google encryption logarithm instead of RSA or some other type of encryption scheme to encrypt your data. So, according to the article here on Cyber-Social, what happened? Researchers found a new ransomware named AgeLocker that was using genuine age encryption tool created by a Google employee to encrypt the victim's files. Earlier this month, a user posted on Bleeping Computer forums providing the details of the new ransomware AgeLocker. This ransomware adds a text header that starts with URL age-encryption.org to each file. This URL points to a GitHub repository for an encryption utility called Age, which is believed to be used by the attackers to encrypt the victim's files. Instead of creating ransom notes, the encrypted system on the encrypted system, the threat actors emailed the ransom demands to victims and added an encryption device list to payment instructions and the ransom note. It's just another way they're coming at us with this ransomware. It's another tool in their arsenal that is a legitimate tool, what they're calling a genuine tool. So this is a legitimate tool being used by the attacker, right? So good morning, Alex. Nice to see you as well. The regular crew, I'll call you guys the morning crew because you're always here. It's always, 3 or 4 or 5 people that are always here every morning without fail to talk about this cybersecurity stuff. And it's just ransomware is running rampant on us right now. And it's just, we know why. The why of this thing is to gather money, right? They want the money. The attacker wants the money, right? It's not notoriety so much. It's not trying to get government secrets. It's not some of the stuff we've seen in the past. It's just, it's in some cases, like Maze, it's an organized criminal business. These folks they're just out after money. They're criminals trying to exploit folks for money. So encrypt your files. That was our first step. They encrypted our files. They started demanding payment to decrypt the files, whether they could or they couldn't, or whether they will or they won't. It's always up for debate. The second thing is they started pulling the files off your systems before they were encrypted, and then the third step was posting them to a public site if you don't pay the ransom. Terrible string of events. And then obviously, I guess the fourth generation or the fourth iteration of ransomware is what Maze is doing, and they're building this syndicate or this cartel of ransomware actors that are working together in concert, at least to post these exploited files, probably more than that. It's terrible. And one of the things I've got to watch is, for some reason, I think it's Restream is not sending all the comments forward. So I make sure all the comments are forward. So I'm going to flip over on that screen over yonder to make sure I can see all the comments coming through. I can't see Twitch over there, though. So if you're on Twitch, I know we got somebody on Twitch this morning. Hope you comment. Somebody on Facebook, go ahead and throw a comment out there. Let me know how you're doing this morning. Let me know what you guys think. This is Age. So this new AgeLocker kind of ties right in with our second story. And our second story is just about ransomware in general. And as you always know, if you've been watching, you know, in the show notes, links to all these articles. And I kind of held off on, we normally talk about the why, the who, and kind of how to protect yourself. I kind of held off on that last one because this next article, again by Cyber Social, they tied together this morning, is talking about the last 3 months. In barely 3 months, there's been 8 new strains of ransomware out there. And that just shows you how quickly this stuff is growing, how prevalent it is, and how dangerous this world is that we're in as security professionals. So if your radar at your organization is not looking at ransomware protection, and I don't know if Mike Bravo is out there, but he hit it right on the nail on the head last week. The protection for this thing, you back up your files and you keep them offline, or you back up your files and you keep them somewhere where they're not connected by the network to your normal system. Because that's the first thing the attacker's going to try to do, is they're going to try to encrypt your backups as well. So this article by Cyber Social, second one on our list. Earlier this year, a report by the FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center, or IC3, revealed ransomware losses in 2019 were 8.9 million, 5.3 million more than the losses in 2018. Moreover, the frequency of attack and ransomware demand has drastically increased this year. So in the past few weeks, more than a half dozen new ransomware strains captured the attention of security researchers, and they list all 8 of them. And it's crazy that these 8 have come out in just 3 months. In a 3-month time frame, these 8 have come out. And the good thing about us getting together every morning is I think we've talked about 7 or 8 of these as they came out. We've actually talked about them. We've brought them to your attention. You guys have provided feedback and information that you guys already know about these things. And at least in our small group, our group of folks that we're talking about, we're aware of these things. We know about them. We know some of the TTPs or tips, tactics, tools, and procedures that are used by these attackers when they're doing these. Abaddon is the first one they bring on their list. This was beginning of June. Actors behind the Abaddon send emails with subjects like, "Hey, your new photo, and do you like my photo?" with the winking smiley face. The kind of thing like, "Hey, is this you in this video?" or "Hey, is this you in this photo?" And then the winking face like, it's a bad photo, it's some kind of weird photo you should be concerned about. Trying to get people to click the link, and that's it. Click the link and provide that path out of your secure network to the attacker so they can launch the attack and start encrypting stuff. So once it was encrypted, there was a ransomware of 800 or more in Bitcoin, and we'll see this a lot. Bitcoin or some type of cryptocurrency is the payment of choice because it's harder to track. It's harder to track this down. Should be noted that Abaddon operators are actively recruiting hackers and malware distributors under an affiliate program, kind of like an Amazon affiliate, and claims to pay affiliates 65% of any ransomware payments by using Abaddon. So, again, a structured program. I don't think we'd call this MLM or a pyramid scheme because the attackers really aren't out any money. This is just more like Amazon affiliates. They're providing the tool to other attackers, and then they're going to get their percentage. They're going to get their 35%, which is, again, more money coming in. It's just, again, all about money. So the broader they can spread this stuff, the farther they can spread this stuff, the more chances they have of infecting systems, the more chances they have of making that 35%. So obviously they get 100% of their attacks, and now 35% of their affiliates. So Abaddon, that's a crazy new model. And how many more ransomware actors are we going to see that follow that model? We've seen Maze setting some trends. Now we see Abaddon setting some trends. The one we just talked about, AgeLocker, is number 2. The first article they didn't talk about this, but they're asking for 7 Bitcoin in this one. Approximately 64,500 right now. Bitcoin exchange rate obviously changes. According to research, it's not clear yet how the attackers are gaining access to the victims' computers. They're not really telling us how they got there. Nice, good morning. Nice to see you. And Jahamini, good to see you as well. Good, the morning crew. The normal crew is almost, we have Mike Bravo here. I think we got just about everyone that's our normal group. But hey, this is the new one, right? This is the new one they're just talking about. So obviously we're hitting this one as well. So think about this one, AgeLocker reportedly utilizing the Age Encryption tool created by Google to encrypt a victim file instead of common algorithms like AES or RSA, or AES and RSA. Third on their list is Conti, seeking a similarity in codes used by dropping the same ransomware node as Raikou. Used experts say the malware could be its successor. New features of Conti include the attacker to perform quicker, up to 32 simultaneous encryption efforts to conduct corporate-wide network attacks. Unique technique, the malware exploits Windows Restart Manager and attempts to alert the user to save their data if their file is open, thereby maximizing damage. That's the program uses the Windows Restart Manager to get files that are may not be normally open. Again, we talked about Conti the other day. We talked about that last week or the week before. ThiefQuest, a new piece of ransomware, which is distributed as a hidden threat inside pirated Mac OS software uploaded in torrent portals and online forums. We definitely talked about this when we talked about the dangers of using that pirated software, that old adage that if it's too good to be true, it is, and nothing's for free, right? ThiefQuest goes beyond just encrypting files. It installs a keylogger, reverse shell, and attempts to wipe off cryptocurrency wallets, wallet-related files. Victims of the attack are asked for a $50 ransom in Bitcoin, and 3 days later, 72 hours later, within 3 days. No contact information for victims to get in touch with the attacker. More than a week ago, research from SentinelOne released a free decryptor to help victims of ThiefQuest ransomware. Again, nothing's for free. And maybe they've got a decryptor for this one, but there's so much other junk in that pirated software. So if you're going to go get something, maybe you want Adobe Illustrator or Adobe Photoshop or something like that, and you're going to go out online and find the free copy, and you're going to torrent download it so you can use it, I would almost guarantee, I'll just go ahead and I'll guarantee you're getting something else with that file. You're getting something else. You're not just getting the free software. Number 5 on their list, Wasted Locker. Detected around May, the new ransomware variant is product of Evil Corp Group. You guys remember talking about that? Their logo, the logo always sticks out in my mind because it looks like Enron's logo. And Evil Corpse, the villain in Mr. Robot. A couple things brought together there. It's crazy. Spotted exclusively targeting Fortune 500 companies and other organizations demanding nothing less than a multi-million-dollar ransom. No data swindling functions. The ransomware typically hits file servers, database servers, and virtual machines in cloud environments. Crazy attacks, and it's all about the money. 6 on the list. Try to Cry. This ransomware leverages infected USB flash drives and Windows shortcuts using the link files to spread through compromised systems. Experts said that this behavior is similar to the techniques used by Sephora, ransomware, and the Andromeda botnet malware. The decryptable malware was found related to Stupid ransomware family from GitHub. And then 7, FileCry, possibly named after WannaCry. The malware behaves amateurish. Its current encryption logarithm, is very plain, as handy to end the encryption operation. Ransomware note: demand 0.035 Bitcoin to defend the file. Again, another one that the decryption key is available free. A lot of these ones where there's the encryption is available for free is the lower end of what I assume is the lower end of the attacker. If we think about the normal attacker strain, how we stack folks up, we'll think these folks is kind of it's equivalent to the script kiddies. They're going out there getting, if they can get what they get, they're going to do it. Last one on our list. AgeLocker. Ransomware uses AES 256 encryption logarithm to lock files and threatens the victim to inform anyone else their data. If they inform anyone else, their data will be deleted permanently. AgeLocker can infect system via malicious email attachments, links, hidden code, websites, external hardware devices such as USBs and others. Actors demand $75 in ransom in Bitcoin to be cleared within a week, or else it will increase to $500. And then obviously the conclusion, it's recommended by experts not to pay the ransom since it can double the ransomware attack recovery costs. I guess the big thing on this, okay, we know why they're doing this. Purely monetary gain. That's what they're after. They're monetary gain. Folks like Maze and Abaddon, looks like they're building empires. Maze is doing it one way. Maze is doing it trying to build these syndicates or the cartels of attack groups. Abaddon's going a different way. They're building their own affiliate link program, their affiliate program. But in all these, we can see some common traits across these things. Our end user, we have to worry about our end user, because our end user is the one that's going to open the email. Our end user is going to be the one that tries to download pirated software. Our end user is going to be the one that clicks the link on, in a website or on a mail that's been sent to them. So end user education is pivotal in all this. It's critical to get our end users aware of what's going on and the repercussions. So we have to let them know that if they click on that link that says, hey, is this you in this picture? Explain to them that that's, there's a fairly good chance that's not them in the picture. So that's important. That's the first important thing. Is like, we have to educate the user. Hey, Kevin. Good morning, Kevin. Good to see you. Nice to see you early in the morning. Excellent to see the crew growing. So that's the first thing. Get our educated end users. Obviously, there's a ton of stuff we can do around that on the backside, on the technical side. Have malware protections running. Have it updated. Have it on the network. Have it on your servers. Have it on the end machines, or endpoints. It's important if we can do that everywhere. And if you can even go that extra step to have diversity of defense, where maybe our servers are using one type of malware protection and our endpoints are using another type in case there's a hole in one of them. We're protecting that. And then normal firewall protections, inbound and outbound blocking. Try to protect the end user from actually getting to those exploited sites. Try to protect them, and it's becoming harder and harder because, if they're using legitimate sites like Google, you really can't block egress to those sites. So that becomes harder to do. And do those backups, like Mike said last week. Have backups, have them offline. Figure out the frequency you have to do it to protect your data. There's always going to be a period that you're susceptible to loss. So if I do updates every night, if I do those backups every night, incremental backups, and I store them offline, I'm storing them on tape or on virtual tape or however I'm doing it. It's offline from our normal systems. That still means if I do it at midnight, that means from 12:01 that day till the next time the backups run, all of that data, whatever happened in that day, is susceptible to ransomware until I do that other backup. So you have to determine your frequency of backup. Is it going to be every 5 minutes? Is it going to be every hour? Is it going to be every day? That's got to be determined on you. And the risk factor you have to think about is, how much data can I afford to lose? And that's the thought you have to take. If I don't create a ton of data, maybe I can do it every day. Maybe even every week, depending on what you're creating. But if you're doing a lot of volume, you may be doing backups much more frequently, and that's going to draw on your network. That's going to draw on your CPU cycles. That's going to draw on a lot of stuff. So you've got to balance this stuff out, because if you get hit with one of these ransomware attacks, maybe you can pay the money and get it back. Maybe you can pay the money and not get it back. Maybe you can not pay the money and not get it back. It's that's the downside of it. That's the risk, right? Vacation Williamsburg. I'm glad you got your morning cup of cyber, Dennis. Even on vacation, that's a true cyber guy right there. Taking vacation time and still getting up. I mean, maybe you're up early already. I know you got that army blood, so you're probably one of the folks that still gets up early in the morning. But yeah. So the big thing with this, ransomware is out there. It's not going anywhere. We've got to make sure we're tuning our organizations. In addition to that, we got to make sure we're tuning our friends, families, coworkers, because it is possible that these folks go after normal end users. Right now, the main focus is corporations. Main focus is organizations. That's the main focus now. But that'll change. That will, as we see these things progress, it's obviously going to change. We're going to see people going after people being attackers. We're going to see attackers going after normal people pretty soon. If you're asking an organization for $75, why not ask 10 people for $75? In some cases, it's going to be a lot easier to get to that end user than get through corporate protections. If I can get to you on Gmail or your Hotmail or whatever account you've got, if I can get to you, if I send 100 out and I get 10 back, that may be easier than going after corporate. And that's probably going to be a shift we'll see going forward as well. This Abaddon is a perfect one. That could be more than just corporate attack, especially as they branch out this affiliate program. Dangerous. I'm worried about the affiliate program. That could be bad. Could be a good way to catch them too. I don't know. I'm sure law enforcement's doing what they can. So that's the rundown. It's crazy. Crazy. The other big trend we're going to see, and we started talking about this, is the Internet of Things. Internet of Things is going to be dangerous, and it's already dangerous. There are so many connected devices. There's so many connected things, from your car to your refrigerator to your microwave to your washing machine, Alexa devices, door locks, cameras. Everything is we're growing forward. We're building the Internet of Things. And I don't think, personally, I don't think it's a bad thing. I really don't. I think this is that natural evolution of technology. We're moving forward. We're automating things, that's what technology is all about. We're automating things. We're making things easier. We're making things more secure in a way. Things like Ring doorbell has probably driven down quite a bit of crime, because neighborhoods can link. You can warn people about activities going on in your physical neighborhood. You can keep track of things being put on your doorstep and being possibly stolen. So we can watch, we're at work and we're not at home, and you get that delivery. You can keep an eye on it. So there's a positive side to this for sure. the convenience side of it is crazy. There's tons of convenience, but we have to do it securely. And as you know, we're moving forward. We're getting started. Like I said, all of the like that level 0 networking we talked about, where we're just using the modem and the router that comes with your cable package. We're starting with securing that. The recording's already done. Got to finish the editing up. Level 2 is adding a FAT access point to that, and then level 3 is going into the full ubiquity network. When we get to that level 3, and that's really the first level we can do, and that's why we have to get to that level. We have to get to level 3. We can create subnets, right? We can't really do that with level 0 and level 1. We have to get to an actual security device. We have to put a security device on our network where we can start creating virtual networks, virtual LANs. So VLANs we'll create. And that's what we'll do. We're going to build a smart device network, and we're going to make sure that it can connect to the internet to do the things it needs to do on the internet, but it won't be able to connect back into our home network or into our guest network. So that's 3 networks we'll build in this environment that's coming up in the next few months as we start the projects, the summer of projects, and they're coming, trust me, guys. We've got all the equipment. I can show you. We'll do a rundown tomorrow. I'll do a rundown tomorrow of each project, approximate timeline when we'll start doing them, and the equipment that goes into each of them. We probably won't have the price. Maybe I'll try to get the prices done. Just a lot of stuff to do in a day. I think we have 8 projects, 8 cool and good projects we're doing that are coming. So that's the big rundown, Internet of Things, why we're talking about this, and why it's important to think about this security. And we have Internet of Things at work sometimes too. Yeah, I know, Alex. I keep thinking about that, but I don't want to live on the streets. So let's go on. Mirai. I'm sure I'm messing up a lot of these names, but there's a new Mirai variant that has been spotted with 9 exploit vulnerabilities. This new variant, and this again from Cyber. The last one, all 3 of these three this morning, all from Cyber Social. So there's a brand new Mirai variant that's been spotted to exploit 9 vulnerabilities. It's designed to exploit flaws in routers, DVRs, IP cameras, and products or vendors such as AVT Tech, Symantec, Comtrend, MV-Power, and D-Link. Among 9 vulnerabilities is a remote code execution flaw, which is CVE 2020-10173. Another flaw spotted is a remote code execution in D-Link's GPON router. We've already talked about being exploited by the Banshee strain. The capability uses a telnet and secure shell brute forcing technique to gain control of vulnerable devices, and it uses XOR encryption to hide the credentials used in the attack. XOR, we can probably figure that one out. It's not a huge thing. There's not a ton of information in the article. It doesn't really talk much about all 9 of the exploits, but I think the one reason I wanted to highlight this one is just we're seeing a trend to start looking at attacking these Internet of Things, the IoT things. And the reason the attacker's doing this is because a lot of times they're less secure. A lot of times, even in organizations, these devices don't get updated frequently. They're not treated as a normal network node. They get treated a little differently. And it's one of the things we have to really, as cyber, as security, as risk professionals, we have to start putting these in our mind. Not only these home devices, we think about the Internet of Things, we almost always will think about things like Alexa, things like Ring doorbells, things like Arlo cameras, those kind of things. Obviously, those are them. Maybe we're even thinking about our car, because a lot of cars, especially the folks that have Teslas. Dennis and I know a guy that's got a Tesla, and he probably doesn't secure it at all. But these things we automatically think of. But think about those things in your corporate environment too. The thermostat, the HVAC system. It's hard to say exactly what's in every corporate environment. Maybe they are Alexas in your corporate environment. Maybe there are some of these other devices. And I'm not saying any of these are inherently more vulnerable than the others. I'm just saying that generally we don't treat them like we would a computer. We don't do scans of those networks a lot of times. We don't do patch cycles on these devices a lot of times. We don't keep track of when a new patch comes out for everything. And that's important. I mean, this is the why. We talk about the why. The why that attackers are just looking at different ways to get into your network. And Internet of Things includes SCADA devices, which is supervisory command, and I forget. I can't think of the SCADA acronym right now. Anyways, they're the industrial devices, robots, HVAC systems, pumping systems, water treatments. These are all SCADA devices. Dennis probably knows the term SCADA. Maybe he can help me out as I lose my mind early in the morning. But normally these are devices that control industrial systems. So we see the attacks on these things because they're normally a lot of times they're maybe outdated systems. I've seen SCADA devices that are still running Windows 98 because nobody thinks about them. So our first step is segmentation of our network. Get them away from our corporate networks. Put them on their own VLAN. And that's what we're going to do in our home environment, our home office build out. We're going to build 3 different subnets, 3 different VLANs. We're going to have our normal VLAN, where all our normal computing happens. We're going to have our guest VLAN, where if somebody visits us and wants to talk, get on the internet and do their internet-y things, they can do that. And then we're going to have our third one for Internet of Things. And those generally, with few exceptions, and we're going to build some rules that allow some communication between those 3 networks, but it's going to be a controlled environment. Generally, those 2 environments, the guest network and the Internet of Things environment, will just reach out to the internet because that's all they need to reach out to generally. So if they need to go anywhere else, we'll make sure we build those rules in, and we'll explicitly allow those connections and deny everything else. So that's what we're talking about, Internet of Things. How you protect yourself? Know what's on your network. First of all, know what's out there. Keep them updated, right? And if you have the capability, put them on another VLAN. Put them on a network that's not connected to your main network. And maybe that's running 2 different access points, 2 different fat access points. Maybe that's what you have to do. You have 2 different Belkin routers or 2 different Linksys routers. And one of them has all of your Internet of Things, and the other one has all your other stuff. A lot of these devices, like our first level, are modem and access points provided by the cable company. In our case, we're Xfinity. We have the ability to create a guest network, but it's not on its own VLAN. So that's one of the things we want to do is once we get to that level, what do we call it, level 2, that's when we're going to get the ability to separate things out and provide specific rules to allow connections between networks. I knew, Dennis, I knew you'd get this one. Supervisory control and data acquisition, SCADA. I knew you'd have it. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Sometimes when I don't have enough coffee, I can't get my mind working. That's why we all work together. That's why we're all here in the morning. Help each other out. Keep everybody moving forward. That's how the protection of these things. We don't want the attacker to get in. We don't want them to launch an attack and move across our network, starting in our Alexa device or something like that. And again, I understand the power and the features of these devices, why we want to use them. I understand. And we're not going to stop this from moving forward. So that's one of the things we have to realize, security risk, cyber professionals. We have to know that these things will continue to move forward. And the biggest risk in a lot of this is those home users, your friends, family, coworkers that are going home. They've got their Alexa. It's just plugged in. Let's help them become more secure. Let's help the small office home users become more secure in their daily life, especially when we have so many people working remote from home. How can we help them become more secure? That's our task. You go, well, I know we've talked SCADA in the past, Dennis. That's why I threw that on your plate, because I remember talking with you about a lot of SCADA stuff in our shared past. So that's a big thing. Internet of Things, we've got to get people tied down on this. So we've got to learn how these things work. We've got to learn the features of them. We have to learn some of the capabilities, and then we can use some of that stuff to our advantage. There's new trends coming that I think are going to help security a lot. Internet of Things is one of them. We can leverage some of the advantages there. Artificial intelligence, obviously that's going to be something we can leverage as professionals moving forward. Personally, I think augmented reality, virtual reality to some level, but I think augmented reality is going to give us different views of security coming in the future. I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we're going to see massive changes in the way we look at security across our corporate and home network. So changes I foresee. We'll see how that comes to fruition, but we'll see. So Internet of Things, a big thing. If you're out there, you're talking to your folks, talking about their Ring doorbell. Somebody's talking about the Ring doorbell. Just ask them, when's the last thing is there any updates for that thing? Are you updating it? Because there are updates for these things. Some devices, like Alexa, is very simple to update. Some devices, I think Ring is one of the ones, if I'm not mistaken, it's quite a bit harder to conduct the updates on some of these things. So we have to obviously help people through that. And I think that the manufacturers need to work on that too. If you're building an Internet of Things device, you need to make it easy to update because you know you're going to have to update it. It's not going to be secure forever. Our last big story of the day. I've seen this research firm, Xuanwu Lab. I think I'm saying that right. Chinese gets me. English gets me, so Chinese is going to get me. Is a research unit of the tech giant Tencent. So there's a firmware in some fast chargers. So the fast chargers are a new type of charging device, whether it's a battery powered system, or a plug-in system that does a negotiation with your device. So it'll talk to your device when you plug it in to charge like a phone or a laptop. There's a communication between the firmware of the charging station, whether it's a battery backup or it's an actual plugged-in device. They do a negotiation, and the device says, hey, I can handle up to, 10 watts, whatever. The charging unit will then send 10 watts of power to it. So this research firm went ahead and they looked into it, and they discovered this thing called BadPower. And it's a corruption of the firmware of the chargers. And obviously, the benefit of this fast charging is it can charge your device faster than it would happen in the past. What this exploit does is it determines, they do that negotiation, and the device will say, I can handle 10 watts of power. And because this bug is exploited the firmware, instead of sending 10 watts of power, then the device maybe sends 45 watts of power. And the intent is to try to burn up your device, physically destroy your device. It's trying to send, 12 volts, 20 volts, increased wattage, whatever it takes. So the negotiation is voltage, amperage, and wattage. How much can the device take to increase the charging speed? That's what it was designed for. What these guys have done, this BadPower has done, is they have exploited that to send more power to the device than it can handle and physically destroy it. And obviously, if your device catches on fire, you're not there. Could take out your office, could take out your home. So we have to worry about this. Again, the patch for this, the fix for this, is to patch your devices. Since this has come out, there's patches that will fix it, that will keep this from happening. But in this article, they looked at 35 fast chargers, and 18 of them were vulnerable. So they looked at 234 models available. I missed. Research said they selected 35 fast chargers from the 234 models available, and found 18 from 8 vendors were vulnerable. And if you remember, we picked this one up. We picked this charger up. It's got IQ Power. I think that's the same thing. I went to the website, tried to do some research this morning. Obviously, we look at these things in the morning. Anchor is a great company. This is the same. This is a 60 watt battery pack that I got. We're going to test. It'll charge your laptop. It'll charge like a MacBook Pro 13 or an XPS 13. USB-C power. It's got 45 watts on one side, 15 watts on the other side, USB 3. It does all kinds of cool stuff. But I was trying to find out two things this morning, and I only had about a half hour to look at this once I started looking at the news. Is this device, is there an update available for the device? And is this device on the list? Well, I can't, because there's a list of devices that are vulnerable. I can't find the list. The reference article from ZDNet is in Chinese, so my Chinese is definitely a little rusty because I don't know it. So I couldn't find out if there's an update available, how to update my device, or am I on the list? Is Anchor on the list? And if it's not on the list, that doesn't mean I'm protected because they only looked at a very small percentage of these chargers. So that's a challenge I have for the rest of the day, is try to figure out, I'm going to break this thing out, plug it in, see if I can figure out how to update it and see if there's an update available. Because that's the fix for it. So, the why in this, why are these guys doing this? And this one is just malicious intent, right? This is just destroying a device. Maybe it's, and I go way out on a limb here, maybe it's one of the other competitors trying to say, these devices, get bad press on some of the device. I don't know. Would be a way far out conspiracy theory. I don't know that that's even one of them. I think it's just malicious intent. There's people that have figured out I can destroy people's devices if I just create this little thing. Maybe they got one of the devices, they realized they could modify the firmware, and they started to build something that could go do it. I don't know. I don't know who the attackers are in this case. I don't know where they came from. There's a lot we don't know about this. But the protection of this thing is, make sure you're updated. So figure out how you can update your device. Just because you're not on the list, your device is not on the list, doesn't mean you're protected. Right? There's all kinds of devices that weren't even tested. So we don't know. Try to find out, does your charging device use this smart charging technology, this fast power? I'm pretty sure this Anchor one here, they call it IQ power, IQ technology. I think it's probably the same thing. It's probably negotiation between the device and the charger, and it's going to say, yeah, I can handle this much power, this much wattage, voltage, amperage. Send it to me, and the highest levels you can get, the faster it's going to be. That's the convenience of this thing. So that's the protections we have to look at. We have to make sure if our friends are using these cool things, and this. When I went out to look for new battery, this first time I realized that there's this new technology out there. It's hard to keep track of all this changing stuff, but again, that's why we talk in the morning. That's why we talk. So if you're using them, if your friends are using them, your family's using them, make sure that we're letting them know, hey, try to update that thing. Try to get that thing updated. Plug it in and see what you can do. And that's what I'll do today with the Anchor device, figure out if we can get that thing updated, and then I'll report back in either tomorrow or Wednesday, let you know where I'm at, if it's possible, how hard it was. I like that device just based on features. If it works as advertised, I think it's a great device, and I would love to recommend it. Obviously, I had to buy my device. I didn't get it free from anyone. It's just, I don't have a channel like that where I get a bunch of free stuff yet. Maybe one day we'll do it, and obviously still give you the unbiased, unfiltered response to that thing. Dennis says, I'm going to look into this. FAM looks for me for tech security. And that's a lot of us. I think a lot of us that are, if you're up this morning, you're watching the show, you're providing feedback and comments, you're probably that person. You're probably that person for your family. You're probably that person for your coworkers. You're probably that person for your friends. People turn to you and they say, hey, what's going on with X, Y, or Z? They want to know. Paul, let me kind of get your comment on the screen, man. Oh. So Paul, again, a problem with this stream is sometimes the comments don't come all the way through. I see it on YouTube. So Paul is saying, and I can't get on the screen, Paul is saying my phone and truck have IQ capability. Yeah, so definitely, I guess you're only vulnerable if you're using the fast charging capability. So I guess that's the thing, is if you're using it, make sure that everything's updated, because apparently the firmware update fixes this problem, so we don't have to worry about it. So that's my advice. We'll update it. We'll keep an eye on this one, because physical destruction is terrible, and especially if it's going to cause you to burn down your house, your office, your building. That's a bad thing. We want to definitely avoid that. then I guess that's the end of our regular stories. Our day today is National Moon Day, July 20th. This is celebrating the landing of the moon, landing on the moon, I should say. So it's always celebrated in July. Commemorates the day the man first walked on the moon in 1969. Apollo space program began by President John F. Kennedy, was created to put the first man on the moon and return him safely. Apollo 11 fulfilled that dream, carrying astronauts Neil Armstrong, Michael Collins, and Edwin Aldrin Jr. It's crazy. A lot of conspiracy theorists say that it didn't happen, but there's some information in the show notes about that. So always the moon landing, probably controversial as always. And for that wraps up that. The one thing I did want to share with you guys, my co-worker, my compatriot, this little guy, Dakota Max, has been with me faithfully for almost 14 years now. Since we started this program, every morning he'd come down with me. He'd hang out with me in the morning while we did this. Unfortunately, we lost him on Saturday night to liver failure. So, Dakota, man, I'm gonna miss you. That being said, I think that wraps up our morning. Hate to leave it on a down note. Let's go back to the moon. Moon landing today. Celebrate the landing. And beyond that, have a good day out there. Take care of each other. And as Mike said, Mike must be working this morning. As Mike Bravo says, go get some. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Same time, same place. Look for your input. Keep your friends, family, and coworkers secure. And actually, no. Let me take that back. I'm gonna take that back. 1 minute. Let's take the moon landing off. Let's switch over here. I was gonna wait for this. One of the things we got as we're building out our Internet of Things devices is we've been building the smart home, our smart home environment. So one of the things we got, this came in the mail not long ago. It's one of the things we're going to add to this network. And again, it's Alexa, So the internet loves unboxings for some reason. So this is the Echo Show. So this is part of the Echo environment. This builds out your Echo world or your Amazon world with the ability to have a screen. And this one's kind of, it's a cool device. So typical to high-end marketing or high-end packaging, we've kind of got the Apple look and feel and the way this thing's put together. So it's a video display that hooks into your network. It hooks into works like any other Amazon Echo, but it allows you to have a video display. So what you get, it's pretty nice packaging, is the display unit itself. It's fairly good size, nicely wrapped. A couple inputs on the back, power, looks like microphone, and USB connection on the back. Over there. What else? I'm sure we got the normal, power, and probably just some manuals and junk in the bottom here. Manual. And it looks like there's about a bunch of just empty space in there. So we'll get this on the network. I've got to actually go out. Got to go out and get Vizio. I didn't want to have to buy Vizio, but one of the things I want to do is draw you my network today, and my network is pretty typical to what a small office, home office network would look like, the way it's configured today. So it's one big flat network, and it has the normal security protocols in place on the outside as well as on the inside. I'm going to walk through how that was secure in the environment we're in now, how it'll be secured at level 1 with a fat client, and then how it'll be secured at level 2 with a full-on protected network. So part of that is building out these devices that we know are on people's network. So we'll have a list of what's on the current network, what we're going to add to make it fairly typical to networks out there today, to home office, small office networks. I think home office is a big one I want to focus on because that's probably the place that is the least serviced by security. Folks that are working out of their home, folks that are working out of their home, folks that are working remote today, and then obviously the other part of that is those folks that have small offices or home offices. You know, you are as the owner, you're the chief bottle washer, you're the network person. Maybe you've got someone that can help you with the networks. We're gonna help walk through securing those environments. So I think it's a good thing. We're going to try to get the most typical things that we would see in those environments, and we're going to have them installed, and we're going to walk through securing all of them. So that's the important part to me, is make sure, like Dennis says, I know a lot of you guys are this. You're the same person. You're that person people go to for security advice. And I'll use Dennis. I'm not trying to throw you under the bus here because you mentioned earlier. I can just in my mind imagine Dennis's friends coming back. Hey, I heard about this new Twitter thing. Did I get hacked? You have to say, okay, hold on. Let's unpack this. Let's tell you what's going on. Or hey, Dennis, I just bought this Amazon show. What do I need to do to secure it? Or I'm running a wireless network. How do I get it secure? These are the questions we get asked. These are the questions we have to help each other keep refreshed on, because as we advance in our career, sometimes we get into management of security, sometimes we get into like a specific area like a SOC, but you're still that security guy for your friends, family, and sometimes your coworkers. They're going to come to you with these weird questions like, hey, what's going on with this thing in the news? And we all need to at least be aware of that. And that's why I'm so glad you guys join me in the morning. So glad that we can work through this. I'll bring things up. As Kevin knows, we've shared some shared history in the past. And the big thing is to facilitate the discussion, to get people talking about security. I definitely don't know it all. That's why I'll put it on the table, I'll throw it out there, and then we all can discuss it. We can all throw comments in, and I'll share all those comments so that we all can learn. And if you guys seen stuff, if I don't cover something in one of these articles that throw it on the screen. I know we can't talk live, but we can talk near live with the chat session. I'm trying to keep track of all of it, and like Paul says, his truck's got it, his phone's got this capability. Are they vulnerable? So let's get them updated. If there's an update out there, and Paul, I don't know, how do you update a truck? I'm assuming you connect to the network, right? Connect to your Wi-Fi, or connect to, if it's something that has OnStar or something like that, you get that update. But those are questions we need to think about on different types of vehicles. Ford has their own OnStar-ish thing. I forget what it's called. I've seen it before. I've used it a few times. But a lot of them have it. And obviously Tesla has giant connected infrastructure. So how do we secure those things? How do we get our friends to secure those things? How do we tell them it's important? Let me help you. We've got to do this. Let's get them to do it. Maybe the goal is just once a month. Can you get your friends to update their devices once a month? It's not easy. It's not easy to convince them to do it because, it's always work, right? It's always work to do something additional. And when do we fit that time in? So that's where I'll leave you guys today. Better than leaving you at the other side. Be good to each other. Like Mike says, go out there, get some help your friends, help your family, help your coworkers. Be secure in what they do, because the weakest link is the one that's going to allow us in. And if you let your friend stay vulnerable out there, remember, they're your friend. They're probably connected to you somehow, and that may come back to haunt you later. So be good. We'll see you tomorrow morning about the same time. I know it takes some folks a little while to get on, but we'll see you tomorrow. We'll talk more about cybersecurity. We'll talk more about what's in the news, and we'll get things going. So until then, be safe out there.